Today we're going to be making a turkey skillet that can be used as a 0 Point Weight Watchers smart meal or as just a regular meal that you can make for yourself and makes a lot of leftovers, and you can take it with you and you can do a bunch of stuff with it because it's got a little bit of a Mexican food thing going on, and Mexican food is good at all times. It doesn't have to be Taco Tuesday. It can be Lazy Saturday, as it is right now when I'm recording this. So let me show you what you need. First, we're going to be using Old El Paso taco seasoning. Use the less sodium version because they call for a lot of this in there, and it's always best to use a little less sodium in anything you're cooking. We're also going to be using the Rotel hot diced tomatoes with habaneros. Now you can get this with just peppers where it's mild, but I like my stuff spicy, so I go with that. You can also trade this off and just do your own diced up Roma tomatoes. That is also another great option. As long as you get that red in there, you want to add a little color to our dish. I also add corn most of the time. We don't have any today, and that's not a big deal. It doesn't do much for you. And we're also going to have some spicy black beans. Once again, I have the spicy version. You can get the regular version. It doesn't matter. And for our ground turkey, right now we have the 93% lean ground turkey. If you want this to be a 0 Smart Point Weight Watchers meal, you're going to have to get the 99% lean. It tastes just as good in my opinion, but this one, in all honesty, was on sale. So this is the kind that I got. Plus that little bit of fat that's left helps add a little flavor and cooks it up better. And we are also going to have a strainer, a spatula, a can opener, and a large skillet with a lid. So as you can see, we have everything laid out here for us, ready to go. So what I'm going to do is put the turkey on, get it browning, and while that's going, I'll get the black beans strained, and we'll see what we can do about these Rotel tomatoes with habaneros. As you can see, everything is a little spicy, and that's the way I like it. Some people like to break up the meat beforehand. I'm a big fan of just dumping it in. And as it begins to cook, you can go ahead and break it up with your spatula. Or right after you dump it in, go ahead and make some riffs with the spatula. And break it up a little in the pan. Get that nice and separated. And turkey will start cooking almost immediately as soon as that heat hits it. So let that go a minute. You'll see as we start turning it over, it's already going to be a little white on the bottom. But while that's starting, we can strain our black beans. Now we're using a fine strainer today. Any strainer will do for black beans. This is usually used for lentils or quinoa and that sort of thing, so it doesn't fall through the holes. I kind of like this for the black beans because it lets a little more flavor stay in there. And who doesn't want more flavor in their spicy black beans? And also you can just rinse it out and pour that water right on top. And it's going to help get some of that out. And clean your can at the same time. Who knew? We should clean our can, because if we clean the can and put it in the recycling instead of in the garbage. Now my only theory with this that I'm a little concerned with is that I'm losing some of the spiciness when I rinse them off that much. But maybe not. As you can see, it does not take long for this turkey to start cooking up. Like I said, when that heat hits it, that's pretty much it. So you want to keep a close eye on this, not for concern that you're going to overcook it necessarily, but you want to make sure it's broken up. Otherwise you're going to get big pieces. It's not going to cook evenly. So just kind of keep going at it almost like a stir fry. Keep that cooking even. One thing you'll notice with the 93% turkey is a little bit of a browner color, and you can see obviously the fats and the oils in the pan. If you're doing the 99% turkey, it's going to be very white, and there's not going to be almost anything in the pan. You still, if you're using a nonstick pan, don't have to worry too much about it sticking to the pan or anything like that. Maybe once you add everything to it, but as it stands, as you can see, it stays pretty well separated from the pan. The question you have to ask yourself with the 93% is how much of that fat do you want to drain out? Because what we're going to do in a minute is add some water and some of the taco seasoning, all the taco seasoning. And what you can use some of this fat for is to substitute some of that water, give it a little more full flavor. Obviously, you're going to have a higher fat content if you do that, and 0 points is out the door, but it's preference. All right, so I have drained out most of the fat that was in the pan. Now we're going to add 1/3 cup of water. You can hear it cool right down there. And taco seasoning. Now you want to make sure you mix it up really well. If you have a different taco seasoning brand to use, you can do that. Just want to make sure you follow the instructions and use enough. Not too much, just right. A little Goldilocks of taco seasoning. You can see it start to soak into the meat. And like I said, with the 99% fat-free turkey, the meat is white, so you're not going to see as much darker color. So if you're waiting for that, you're going to be stirring for a long time. So once you get that nice and mixed up, even it out a little bit. See if you can't get a little bit of bubbling going on. And I see we already have that. So we're going to cover that up. This is just going to let the seasoning soak into the meat. So we'll let that simmer and see where we're at. All right, so now is the fun part. As you can see, we got essentially taco meat. So if you wanted to have a taco night, you're where you should be. What we're going to do, though, is make our turkey skillet. So we're going to add the black beans that we strained out earlier. And how many you add is up to you. I've never used a full can. And like I said, I usually put corn in here. And you know I like corn. Obviously, it adds a little bit of sweetness to it. But I'm also a big fan of presentation. So if you can add in some color, and you'll see those red tomatoes, those Rotel tomatoes are going to come out, and they're going to add a pop of red to it. So you can just imagine that yellow would really offset that and make it look even better. And anything you like, if you want to add a little Asian flair instead of the taco seasoning, maybe do something like that and put some carrots in there, some bean sprouts, pea pods, whatever floats your boat. Now earlier we said we're not going to strain the Rotel. Here's why. You get all that pepper juice and all that tomato juice. You pour that whole can in there. That I do use the whole can for. So that's going to also create kind of a tomato base. And once all that's in, I'm going to mix it all together. Now some variations I've done on this recently. Use sour cream and cheese, turn it into a dip. Obviously if you're watching your fat content, that goes right out the window pretty quickly, but really get it all evenly mixed up. I mean, that looks delicious right there. You got your turkey, and that taco seasoning is going to take over a little bit. Imagine it's got a nice little kick to it right now too. I'm not going to lie, I also sometimes put a little sriracha or some Red Hot on there. Make it real good. We're going to raise the heat just a little bit, about a medium heat. And you want that to start simmering again, but this time we're not going to cover it up. We just added a lot of different liquids in there, and we want all that to burn down so it thickens up a little bit. So we're going to let it get to a simmer. Just getting there pretty quick because that turkey was really hot. And just let it sit and burn down for a little while. Now, if you have the patience, and what we're going to do now, since this is a video, is I am going to cover it up just to let the flavors all mix together in there. Then we'll take the lid off, let it burn down, We'll see what we have at the end. Just wanted to show you guys, I've had the lid on for about 5 minutes and just took it off. You can see how much liquid is in there. So we're going to let that burn down, cook off, simmer down, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll have a final product. I'll tell you the different stuff you can do with it, including, get this, eat it by itself. Yeah, crazy. Here we got 2 versions of the finished product. Here on the left is what it's like right out of the pan, and that's how I often eat it, right out of the bowl. Imagine with a little pop of yellow, you get that corn in there, delicious. And on the right, I added some cheese and sour cream, make a little dip. You can use chips with either one of these. It's fantastic, the tortilla chips there. And throw it in a burrito. You can do just about anything with that, and that's the joy of any Mexican food, really. You can put whatever you want in a tortilla and make it a meal. We've also dumped this between a tortilla and made a quesadilla. Really, really good. The melty cheese and that taco seasoning on the turkey. And once again, add your own little spice. But that's it, and it's delicious. And if you make it with the 99% fat-free turkey, it is 0 points. Obviously not if you eat it with chips or tortilla, but it is filling, it's delicious, you get the protein, add whatever veggies you want to it. Enjoy.